Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope you are doing well. Today is Tuesday, January 7th, and the story of the markets today was the pullback induced by the rise in 10-year Treasury yields, which was induced by hotter than expected economic reports, which suggest that maybe inflation isn't as under control as previously thought, and therefore maybe there's even more time before the next rate cut. All this being said, I think the market right now is a perfect trader's market because there's a lot of volatility. We're not really going a ton in either direction, up or down, at least since this volatility started since the last time Jerome Powell spoke. And this means that there's really great buying opportunities. There's also really great selling opportunities, and you can make some money doing that, which makes the market fun. I would say just don't go overboard when you're taking profits. Don't go overboard when you're buying dips, unless, of course, you're in a back the truck up scenario wherein you had your eye on a certain asset that gets in no-brainer territory in price. All this to say, there are a lot of opportunities in a market like this, a volatile market like this, and we will be taking advantage, inshallah. Hey, Rashad, nice to see you. It's been a while. I was actually thinking about you earlier today. I was like, hey, I haven't seen Rashad in the comments for a while. Nice to see you. Tesla was down 4% today, still up compared to the low point it got to last week, which was around 375. BitDeer, I mentioned yesterday, I was hoping for another dip, and we got that dip today. Alhamdulillah, I took advantage. Iris Energy down 3%. We got an update from Iris Energy. I'll go over that today, inshallah. And looking at gold, pretty steady at 2,600. Bitcoin's at 97,000. Not bad. I mean, people are acting like the sky is falling in the Bitcoin world, but I assure you, the sky is not falling. In fact, 97,000 historically is quite a good number to be at. Very close to 100,000. Very close to six-digit price on Bitcoin. That's nothing to scoff at. Same with Dogecoin, 35 cents. That's pretty good. Solana at 2 or 3 took taking the price basically was flirting with the $100 or one handle, I should say, but we managed to stay above 200. All right, so what are the reports that I'm referencing? Well, the ISM services PMI beat expectations. This was one of the reasons why yields went higher. U.S. services sector grew at a faster than expected pace in December, raising concern among investors about whether the Fed will be able to cut rates as much as Wall Street hopes. Now, I mentioned before on this channel that January is kind of wonky in terms of the economic data that comes out. Oftentimes, inflation comes out hotter than expected. We'll get the CPI next week. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe it gets some investors nervous, but it's typically, there are seasonal factors that affects January's number. So I wouldn't get too hung up on it. The other matter was the JOLTS data, or the job openings data. We got good news, which the market considered bad news. The good news was that the data showed 8.1 million job openings in November, higher than the 7.7 million that was forecasted. The data also showed that the number of quits decreased, and layoff and discharge stayed about the same. So the economy is doing well. People are more employed than we expected them to be. There are more opportunities for employment than we expected. The market reacted negatively to that because of this chart right here, which tracks the probabilities priced into the market for a rate cut. And we went from 91% probability or I'm sorry, an 8.6% probability for a rate cut in January yesterday to a 4.8% probability for a rate cut, and basically a 95% probability that the rates will stay the same. Big whoop. I mean, I'm not too impressed by this change in probabilities. If we look at the stocks and basically a heat map, since this is year to date, so this is not just today, we can see that there's not much that is, bright green or bright red. I mean, it's like I said, I think this is the perfect market where we're going up a little, we're going down a little, up a couple of days, down one day. This gives us opportunities um, to make some money trading. I think the the best investors are the best traders are the ones that are able to understand what is the regime of the market that we're in. Is it one where it's best to sort of buy and hold, or is it one to kind of be a trader around positions? This seems like a market where trading around positions makes sense. We're going to have a very volatile environment. That's what I can almost guarantee now that the Trump administration is very close to assuming the reins of power. Exhibit A would be Trump's wacky comments today about he can't assure the world he won't use military force to take over Greenland and the Panama Canal. And who knows, maybe Canada too. And Greenland is a territory owned by Denmark. And Donald Trump was basically saying if Denmark doesn't basically relinquish its ownership of Greenland and allow them to vote on whether they want to become an American state or not, he may impose massive tariffs on Denmark. So it seems it seems like we're getting to the end, folks. We're fast approaching end times here. Nothing makes sense anymore. Things are as wacky as can be. But for the markets, this means there is a lot of volatility and opportunities to make money, as I've said. So going to IRIS Energy, year to date, this is a company or a stock that's up 10% just year to date. So in the first, we're in January 7th. So that's not too shabby. It did have a pullback. Obviously, we're nowhere near their all-time highs. So all-time high only a month ago was close to 15. Actually, yeah. So 1540, let's say, for the high for this stock, which was again only a month ago. Their December monthly update had all the right things in it. So some key things that stood out to me. Obviously, they've reached their target of 31 exahash, which they mentioned they would get to by the end of the year. So that's great. They're expecting to reach 50 exahash at an efficiency of 15 joules per terahash, by the way, which is great. That's basically the best right now. Although if you look at Bitdeer, they're working on 10 joules per terahash, 5 joules per terahash, and they should all come out in 2025. I'm talking about their mining rigs, but that's for a different day. Now, their data centers, they have 510 megawatts operating at month end, and they have basically a plan to increase that by close to 60% to 810 megawatts in the first half of 2025, which is great. Data centers are extremely profitable. They mined close to 4,000 Bitcoin in 2024. 529 of that Bitcoin was mined in December, which is extremely impressive. We'll look at the numbers here in a second. 40 million hardware profit in December. 50 exahash, like I said, for first half of 2025. So looking at the Bitcoin mining numbers, key metrics for IRIS, the average operating hash rate was 28.1. Again, they reached 31 at the end, but their average during the months was 28.1 exahash. Bitcoin mined 529 Bitcoin compared to November 379 and October 439. So they basically had an all-time high in terms of Bitcoin mined post-halving. Revenue per Bitcoin, that's at a high, so close to 100,000 per Bitcoin. What's really great, what's really encouraging is that they had a increase in revenue of close to 12,000 per Bitcoin between November and December. But the increase in electricity cost per Bitcoin was only around $200. So they went from 22,575 to 22,799. So the rest is just basically margin that they were able to capture. Their mining revenue was 52.1 million in December. Electricity cost was 12.1 million. So their hardware profit was 40.1 million. So keep in mind here, caveat, when you're looking at this number, is that, and the hardware profit margin is 77%, better than the profit margin in November, better than the profit margin in October, which is what I want to see. I really like to focus on profitability. Again, I like to be in businesses that are easy to make money, not businesses that are hard to make money. And 77% as a hardware profit margin is good. You can consider this sort of like a gross margin. It's definitely not the net margin, it's a gross margin. This only takes into consideration the electricity costs associated with mining. Now, you also have depreciation of the machines that you're using. You have other administrative costs. That's not taken into account when you're looking at the hardware profit margin, so keep that in mind. Now, what's even better in terms of margin is the AI cloud services. They have a hardware profit margin of 98%, but they're only a very small fraction of the company's overall revenue. Actually, it was less than 1 million in December. I'm hoping that this line of business gets going. They had a lot of really substantial achievements in 2024. So 450% increase in mining capacity. That's nothing to scoff at. Best in class efficiency, 15 joules per terahash. Data center expansion. They went from 20 megawatts to 350 megawatts. Accelerated 1.4 gigawatt Sweetwater site. And their deadline was brought forward from October 2026 to April 2026. Always good when companies not only meeting deadlines, but actually exceeding them. Established AI cloud services business. Convertible notes issued, transition to spot pricing, which got it better electricity prices, which helped its margins out. So 50 exahash for first half of 2025, massive increase, 60% increase in power capacity expected as well. Revenue increase, so record revenue and hardware profit, operating hash rate averaged, we went over that. Revenue increased 60% to 52.1 million, 77% hardware profit margin, spot pricing. All this we know. And looking at their data center capacity and their build out, so they currently have 510 megawatts operating. And with what it has under construction, has 910, and then with what it has basically planned out, more than 3,000 megawatts capacity. So really a lot of growth left for this company. And yeah, so the company is hitting on all cylinders. And they also mentioned here in their report, let's see if I can find it. That they were negotiating with parties on additional AI monetization opportunities. Now, this is just a bullet that mentioned in passing, but this could be a major catalyst if a really juicy deal is struck with this company. You could see, $1 billion or $2 billion added to its market cap Right now, the market cap for this company is 2.43 billion. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, you know, with at least a 50% gain before this Bitcoin bull cycle is over, maybe even more than that. So we'll be watching this stock very closely. Not financial advice, as is everything I say, not financial advice, just sharing my thoughts. Rashad, inshallah, working on them. We did have some pretty good picks, at least 2 picks in the last month, and pretty high quality. So hope you enjoyed those. Kadir says, Salam Rakaan, wa alaikum salam. Oleg Beck says, Salam Rakaan, are we waiting? All right, ignore you. Assalamu alaikum. Why is BitTier down over 20% over 2 days compared to Bitcoin? Well, doctor, aren't you a PIF member? So you should know what we did. Salam, what is a good price to start accumulating more BTC? Look at our watch list. Guys, if you're not PIF members, make sure you become PIF members. Link to do so is in the description. We have buy below, sell above prices. Who knows? I like to buy on the way down, sell on the way up. I don't like to try and nail exactly, the bottom or nail exactly the top. I don't think that that's even possible. Yeah, market's reacting red on good numbers. Go figure. I mean, something to keep in mind here is that if the economy is doing well, that's good for corporate earnings. If employment is good, that's good for corporate earnings. So yeah, okay, maybe inflation is more of a concern, but also, I mean, there's a flip side to that, which is that earnings should be healthy. So the market seems to be fixated on just the inflation issue, but I think there's more to it than just that. Haven't looked at Brazilian stocks, Musafir. So we talk about it all the time, Talal. Any associations with apartheid states are taken into consideration in our Sharia compliance. Yeah, maybe BitDeer keeps dipping, inshallah. And if it does, my conviction with this company has only increased with time. Like I said, they're on the bleeding edge of ASICs. They have their own chip. They're the only vertically integrated Bitcoin miner, publicly traded Bitcoin miner out there. I think that gives it a lot of opportunity for growth. I have to say even more than most other Bitcoin miners. So yeah, we'll take it. We're happy either way. That's the beauty of our style in investing, is that we're happy either way. We take profits on run-ups. If it still goes up, we still have a substantial position. We take advantage of pullbacks. If it still falls even more, we take even more advantage. So that's how we take the stress out of investing and inshallah stay winning. As I mentioned, if you'd like to follow our trades, like to follow our portfolios, become a PIF member. Link to do so is in the description. I think it's going to pay off for itself many, many times more than the subscription itself. Like this live, even if you're not a PIF member. If you see them as beneficial, do leave a like. And until next time, make sure to take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you all.